My name is Tiffany, 32 years old, single. It's not that no one wants me, but that no one dares to want me. Because my last boyfriend taught me one thing. To love someone is not to possess, but to bless. And his mother taught me another. After blessing, we can still be friends.
Today, I stood on the church stage. Below me sit over 100 guests. I am the bridesmaid, and also the bride's best friend. And the bride is my ex-boyfriend's mother. I am the bride's bridesmaid and her best friend. My relationship with the bride is a bit special. She is my ex-boyfriend's mother.
Some people were whispering to each other, while others were pointing their phones at me. The flash went off. I blinked, but didn't move.
When I was in college, I fell in love with her son. He taught me one thing. To love someone is not to possess, but to bless. So today, I bless his mother more sincerely than I loved him back then.
The bride, Margaret, sat in the first row, her eyes red. Her fiancé, John, held her hand tightly, his thumb drawing circles on the back of her hand. Not every relationship lasts till the end, but some people, even if they drift apart, will stay by your side in a different way. Applause finally broke out below. Not polite applause, but the kind that comes from being truly moved.
When I first met Margaret, she just Benjamin's mom. Later, she became my friend, my second mother. We drank countless cups of hot chocolate and took countless calls on my hardest nights. She never judged me. She only listened.
My gaze fell on Margaret's face, and she looked back at me. Her lips trembled slightly, moving soundlessly a few times.
Today she marries John. I am not here to say goodbye, but to witness. To witness that love is braver the second time around. For someone who has loved once and still dares to love again, that is true courage.
Applause came like a tidal wave. I stepped off the stage and hugged Margaret. She whispered in my ear, "Thank you, daughter." I didn't correct her. Tears had blurred my vision. 7 years ago, New York University Library. I sat by the window, my laptop screen showing an unfinished paper. Outside the window was autumn in New York, golden leaves, wind blowing fallen leaves against the glass. Across from me sat a tall, thin boy with black-rimmed glasses, his fingers typing fast on the keyboard, his nails cut short, his jowls prominent. He sat across from me for 3 days straight. The first day, I thought it was a coincidence. The second day, I noticed him. The third day, I began to look forward to it. On the fourth day, he handed me a note. "Do you also like the window seat?" I looked up at him. His ears were a little red, as if he'd just gotten off a treadmill or was nervous. I looked down and wrote on the note, "You got here first," then pushed it back. He smiled. A beautiful smile. His name was Benjamin, a graduate student in computer science. That night, we walked on campus, talking about Kafka, AI, and the best pizza place in New York. He said, "Kafka is too pessimistic." I said, "Your code is more pessimistic." He laughed loudly, startling a pigeon by the road. He liked to push up his glasses when he spoke. That gesture later became a nail in my memory, driven too deep, taking a long time to pull out. We got together soon after. He took me to watch the sunset on the Brooklyn Bridge, saying it was the most romantic place in New York.
Do you say that to every girl?
Only need to the one who wrote notes back.
I smiled but didn't say anything. I didn't know then that I would walk across that bridge countless times later, alone. The bridge was still the same bridge, but the people were gone. I first met Margaret on an autumn Sunday. I often heard Benjamin say that his mom cooked really well. I wore my favorite dark green dress, put on light makeup, and wrote a thank you card by hand.
When Margaret opened the door, she wore a white cotton shirt, a gray cardigan.
Nice handwriting.
Her voice was neutral, like judging a piece of art.
The house smelled of stew, rosemary, and olive oil mixed together, warm but not overwhelming. The dining table was covered with a linen tablecloth, exquisitely set. She didn't talk much, but every question was precise.
What's your major? What do your parents do?
I answered one by one like an interviewee. Her eyes kept watching how I ate and how I talked to Benjamin. After dinner, Benjamin went to wash the dishes, and she called me over at the kitchen door.
Tiffany, you're a good girl. Benjamin doesn't deserve you.
I froze. That was the first time I realized this woman knew her son better than I did.
During graduation season, Benjamin got an offer from a well-known tech company in Silicon Valley. I received an offer from a media company in New York. The long-distance relationship began. The first month, we video called every day. It was late night for him, early morning for me. The time difference made us like two birds in different time zones. The second month, every other day.
Irkos shadowed his eyes.
He said it was from too much overtime, and we believed him. The third month, he forgot our anniversary. I saw on Instagram that he had added a new female colleague, blonde, long legs, bright white teeth when she smiled.
She's the new product manager. Her name is Vivian.
He liked every one of her photos. You never liked your colleagues' posts before.
You're too sensitive.
Sensitive. Maybe.
But when I love someone, I choose to believe every word he says. Until Margaret asked me out for coffee, in a quiet cafe with crystal chandeliers and white tablecloths.
Tiffany, has Benjamin mentioned Vivian to you?
I put down my cup. The bottom hit the porcelain plate with a crisp sound. He said that. A colleague.
More than a colleague. He brought her home.
When?
Last month.
Fallen leaves drifted past the window, spinning to the ground. The coffee went cold, and I didn't refill it. Something inside me cracked, like a fickage on ice, silent but reversible. Mom, what are you trying to tell me?
I'm not here to explain for him. I'm here to tell you that whatever you decide, I support you. You deserve better.
Her voice was soft, but every word was clear. I looked out the window. People came and went on the street. This city never waits. But some things can no longer wait. That night, I called Benjamin. He answered the phone, with the loud sound of a TV in the background as if a sports program was playing. Benjamin, is Vivian your girlfriend?
No.
His answer was quick, as if he'd memorized the line. Did she go to your house? Silence. A long silence. All that was left on the line was the TV noise and his breathing.
Tiffany,
I see. I hung up. Even so, I didn't cry. The spire of the Empire State Building glowed white in the distance, like a lonely lighthouse. I didn't know how long I sat there. The sky brightened, birds sang, and cars started passing downstairs. My legs were numb. I staggered when I stood up and held onto the railing. The wind was strong, drying my tears. After the breakup, I deleted all of Benjamin's contact information. Phone number, Instagram, Facebook, not one left. I packed the photos into an encrypted folder, the password being my grandmother's name. That way, I would never open it. During that time, worked overtime until early morning every day and fell asleep as soon as got home. It's not that it doesn't hurt. It's that I can't stop. If I stopped, I would think. If I thought, I would be unwilling. Margaret didn't delete me. She started sending me messages irregularly. Versa, are you okay? Then holiday greetings. Then food photos and community event links. Versa replied politely. Until one day, she sent a voice message.
Tiffany, the biggest regret of my life is not stepping in between you sooner. It's not that you are not good enough.
Her voice was a little choked up, barely noticeable if you didn't listen carefully. After listening, I lay on my desk and cried. After crying, I washed my face and went back to work. That's how adults are. We cry and then go back to work. A year later, Margaret invited me to a lecture for a women's entrepreneurship support group. She said she was nervous alone, but I knew she was just looking for an excuse to see me. The lecture was held in an office building in Midtown Manhattan, attended by more than 30 women. The speaker was a female entrepreneur who started a business after divorce. In her 40s, short hair, loud voice. She talked about her failures and rebirth, how she started from scratch, how she got through her hardest nights. Margaret wore reading glasses and took notes diligently. Her handwriting was neat, every stroke careful, just like her.
Community volunteer, Margaret West.
During the intermission, she handed me a business card. I took it. Tiffany Chen, freelance writer. We exchanged business cards like two strangers meeting for the first time. But we both knew our story was much thicker than that.
After the lecture that day, we sat in the cafe downstairs for a while. She ordered hot chocolate.
I'm getting old. Coffee keeps me awake. You don't look old. You don't have to comfort me. I know when I look in the mirror.
We fell silent for a moment. Mom, do you regret not persuading me back then? She shook her head.
What I regret is not swaying him.
Our first official Wednesday dinner was at a small Italian restaurant. She recommended it, calling it the most home-like place in all of Manhattan. She ordered salad, I ordered pasta. We shared a piece of tiramisu. The tiramisu that day was a little bitter, too much cocoa powder.
She took a bite and said, like life.
You've started saying things like that too.
Old people love saying that.
We talked a lot.
Benjamin as a child saying he had a hamster when he was 5 and cried for 3 days when it died. He's soft-hearted, but not brave.
What does brave mean?
Brave is doing the right thing even when you're soft-hearted.
That night when I got home, I wrote in my diary, had dinner with Benjamin's mom today. We didn't mention Benjamin. Good. In the following Wednesdays, we developed a tigogenance. We talked about books, news, and new students in the community baking class. Once she brought homemade banana bread, wrapped in tinsfoil, still warm.
John said there wasn't enough sugar, but I think it's just right.
That was the first time she voluntarily mentioned John. Who is John?
A classmate in baking class, retired architect, widowed. He's more talented at baking baguettes than me.
Her tone was flat, but I noticed a smile at the corner of her mouth when she spoke. Not sweet, just right. She looked at me. Some people don't need to say thank you. One look is enough.
A month later, Margaret called out of the blue. Tiffany, can I bring someone next Wednesday?
John?
How did you know?
Your tone is different every time you mention him.
She laughed and didn't deny it.
That Wednesday, John showed up. He wore a polo shirt, graying hair neatly combed, with broad shoulders.
Your friend is prettier than you said.
John didn't talk much during the meal, but every word hit the mark. He asked about my work.
I've read a few of your articles. One about urban loneliness made my mom cry.
Your mom?
Yes, she's over 80 and lives in Queens.
He visits his mom every Saturday.
It's the right thing to do.
I paid that day. Margaret tried to grab the bill, but I said,
You brought someone new, my treat.
I'll treat next time.
I thought, this is a good man.
After that, every Wednesday became a trio.
John sat next to Margaret and across from them. They occasionally touched hands under the table, thinking I didn't see. I pretended to look out the window.
One day, John was 10 minutes late.
Margaret checked her phone every 30 seconds. What are you nervous about?
His knee is bad. I'm afraid he fell on the way.
As she finished speaking, John pushed the door in, holding a bouquet of daisies.
Saw them on the way. Thought you'd like them.
Margaret took the flowers without saying thank you, just placed them on the chair beside her, and gently patted the petals.
At 71, she still blushed over a bouquet of flowers. That night when I got home, I dug out the first bouquet Benjamin gave me, dried, pressed in a dictionary. I looked at it and threw it in the trash. Half a year later, Margaret said she was getting married.
Tiffany, I'm getting married.
Her voice on the phone was hard to hide her excitement, like a little girl. Congratulations.
With John.
I know.
Will you be my bridesmaid?
Her voice was a little junctious, as I'm afraid of being rejected. I froze. Bridesmaid? Me? What about Daisy?
Daisy can't make it. She just had a baby. You're my best choice. You're my best friend.
Best friend. We went from ex-boyfriend's mom to best friends. Okay. She cried on the other end of the phone. I listened to her crying without comforting her, because I knew they were happy tears.
The night before the wedding, Margaret couldn't sleep. She called, her voice very soft.
Tiffany, do you think people will laugh at me for wearing a wedding dress at my age?
No, you look good in anything.
I'm scared.
Scared of what?
Scared that happiness came too late and will leave too soon.
Happiness is never too late, no matter when it comes.
What about you? When will you be happy?
Me? I've been happy all along. Having you as a friend is enough.
You're sweeter tongued than me.
You taught me.
I held the phone. New York was brightly lit outside the window. The Chrysler Building glowed silver in the night sky, like a giant brooch pinned to the skyline.
On the wedding day, I woke up at 5:30. Sunlight squeezed through the curtain gap. I chose a bridesmaid dress, understatement but confident.
In dressing room, Margaret's hair was neatly styled, and her white wedding dress fit her perfectly, highlighting her still slender figure. She was so nervous, her hands were cold, holding mine tightly.
Tiffany, do I look beautiful like this?
Prettier than Daisy.
She laughed, and her eyes turned red as she laughed.
Benjamin isn't coming.
I know.
He asked me to tell you he's sorry.
No need. What I need is you standing here, not him.
The makeup artist touched up her lipstick. She closed her eyes, her eyelashes trembling slightly.
We were reflected in the mirror, her sitting, me standing, like a painting.
The church had a high dome. Light streamed through the stained glass windows, dappling the red carpet. The speech segment. When the Empire handed me the microphone, my palms were sweaty.
The pews were full. Margaret's relatives and friends, John's children, old friends from the community baking class. They looked at me with curiosity, expectation, and a little confusion.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany. I am the bride's bridesmaid and her best friend. My relationship with the bride is a bit special. She is my ex-boyfriend's mother. I took a deep breath and went on.
Someone asked me why I became best friends with my ex-boyfriend's mom. I thought for a long time, and the answer is, some people are meant to enter your life, no matter what identity.
At this point, someone clapped softly below. Margaret's eyes were red. I shared the whole story of how I met Margaret, from the stew in that kitchen to her sitting in the tea house telling me, "You deserve better."
She could have taken her son's side, defended him, make excuses for him, but she didn't. She chose to stand on the side of truth, on my side.
From that moment on, she was no longer just Benjamin's mom. She was my friend. My gaze fell on Margaret's face, and she didn't look away.
She taught me that to love someone is not to possess, but to fulfill. Today she marries John. I am not here to say goodbye, but to witness. To witness a brave woman holding happiness' hand for the second time.
Applause came like a tidal wave. I stepped off the stage and hugged Margaret. She whispered in my ear, "Thank you, daughter." I didn't correct her. Tears had blurred my vision. Halfway through the reception, I went to the garden outside the church to get some air. There was a figure in the corner. Mark, John's son. I walked over, and he lit one for me. He was in his early 30s, wearing a dark gray suit. Smoke drifted in the evening breeze.
You're Tiffany?
You know me?
My dad mentioned you. He said you deserve to be his daughter more than Benjamin does.
Your dad has a sweet tongue.
He's a good man, just not good at choosing women. After my mom passed away, he went on many blind dates, none worked, until he met Margaret.
What do you think of them?
As long as my dad is happy. I've never seen him smile so often in my life.
We fell silent for a moment. The band in the distance started playing jazz, the saxophone sound deep and tender. You don't mind your dad remarrying?
Why would I? If he's happy, I'm happy. You're a good person, Tiffany. Bless you.
Thank you. You too.
After the wedding, a young wedding cameraman came over and asked shyly,
Miss Tiffany, can I post the speech online? I do wedding videos part-time.
I was about to refuse, then looked back at Margaret. She and John were dancing on the dance floor, clumsy but focused, like two children just learning to walk. John's left knee was bad and couldn't stand long. Margaret held his waist, and he held her shoulders, swaying slowly. Post it, but don't film my mom crying.
Okay, thank you, Miss Tiffany.
I didn't know that night that the video would completely change my life. Change sometimes only needs a casual nod.
I was woken up by my phone vibrating at 3 in the morning. Messages poured in from all sides. Friends, colleagues, strangers, and distant relatives I'd never contacted. The comment section scrolled fast, with new messages every second. Someone said, "She said what I'd not say with my ex-boyfriend's mom." Someone cursed, "Stop chasing clout," asked, "That man left you and you still stood as bridesmaid for his mom. Are you stupid?" It started raining again outside. Raindrops tapped on the air conditioner. I put my phone on airplane mode, lay in bed, and stared at the ceiling. A name of thanks to the air conditioner. This city is always raining.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
I did. A girl told me her ex-boyfriend's mom died before they reconciled. She cried all night after your speech and thanked you.
Do you regret letting me give the speech?
No regrets. You're more like me than Benjamin is.
The video stayed viral for a week. TV stations asked for interviews. I turned down 3.
You should go. Your story can help people. Them your steams.
My story is also your story.
I don't mind.
In the end, I accepted an invitation from a late-night radio station.
The host Andy had a deep voice, like an old friend chatting late at night. There were no viewers in the studio, only a dim lamp and 2 pairs of headphones.
Tiffany, how did you manage not to hate?
Hating someone means keeping him in your heart. I don't want to. Not hating doesn't mean forgiving. Many listeners wrote letters after the show. One was from a man in his 50s.
He said after his daughter divorced, he sent a box of apples to his daughter's ex-husband's mother every year, and she sent back a box of pears. They never met, but their tacit understanding was like 2 old people supporting each other. He said he sent apples for 10 years, and she sent pears for 10 years.
This year she didn't send pears. He called to ask, and her daughter said she had passed away. I read the letter to Margaret. John was there too. He was quiet for a long time after listening.
I also want to send something to my ex-wife's mom.
What do you want to send?
Anything. Just to tell her I'm still alive and doing okay. And to know if she's doing well.
Margaret wasn't jealous. She just picked a postcard for him with the Brooklyn Bridge.
Just right. The bridge is still here, and so am I.
An emotional counseling platform reached out to me and offered me a job as an ex-relationship mediator. I thought to myself what kind of job that was, but they said they specialized in helping people handle leftover relationships after breakups.
I said yes, because I knew the pain of not being able to close a chapter properly.
My first client was a girl in her early 20s with red and swollen eyes. She had broken up 2 years ago, and her ex-boyfriend's mother still lived across the hall from her. They acted like strangers when they met, and she didn't know what to do.
Do you still hate him?
I don't hate him anymore, but I feel so awkward meeting his mom. I'm always afraid she hates me.
Next time you see her, just leave a box of chocolates at her door. Don't say anything, don't explain, don't apologize.
3 days later, she sent me a message. She ate them and even replied thanks. I looked at those words and thought it was enough. Some relationships don't need reconciliation, just a box of chocolates.
The second case was much more complicated. A woman in her 40s wanted to get back a jade bracelet left by her grandmother, which her ex-boyfriend had taken and refused to return. She said the bracelet was put on her wrist by her grandmother on her deathbed, and it meant everything to her.
I contacted the man. He sounded aggressive when he answered, saying,
"She took so many of my things when we broke up. What's wrong with me keeping one bracelet?"
"Is your mother still alive?"
No.
"How would you feel if someone took your mother's keepsake?"
It was quiet on the line for a long time. Finally, he said,
"I'll send it."
A week later, the bracelet was returned to its owner. The lady sent me a painting, which I hung in the most prominent place in my living room and looked at every day.
I started writing a book. Title, Thank You for Not Loving Me. On the title page it read, "To all ex-boyfriends' mothers. Thank you for once being my other mom." Writing the book was slow. Every day after get off work, I sit at the small table in my apartment, with a desk lamp and a cup of coffee in front of me, and then type on the computer screen. I always got stuck when writing about Margaret, because I had to avoid overly private details. Margaret read the first draft. She covered her mouth and cried when she turned to one page. That page describes her handing me a card that says, "Thank you for taking care of my son," but in reality, these are words she couldn't bring herself to say.
You wrote about me?
You agreed.
Write it. It's good to get it down so I don't forget when I'm old.
John was peeling oranges beside her and handed her a segment. She ate it and said it was sweet.
On the day the book was published, I held a book signing at a small bookstore in Manhattan. More than 30 people came, more than I expected. Margaret and John sat in the first row. John's knees were not good anymore, and he used a cane.
Near the end, a young girl came in holding 2 books.
I want to give this to my ex-boyfriend's mom. Do you guys still keep in touch? She was really nice to me. I was afraid to reach out after we broke up.
I opened the title page and wrote, "Some people are worth summoning your courage for." She took the book, and tears fell on the cover. After the signing, Margaret helped me pack up the booth. She put the remaining books into the cardboard box one by one, slowly, as if caressing each cover.
Tiffany, will you ever write about your parents?
No. They are my bottom line.
What about me?
You are the upper limit.
She froze, then gently patted the back of my hand.
Margaret told me the news that Benjamin had gotten divorced. It was that Wednesday night, and we ordered our usual salad and pasta.
John didn't come. His knees hurt badly and he was resting at home. Vivian filed for divorce. He left with nothing.
Are you worried about him?
I feel sorry for him. No matter how old he is, he's still my son.
He needed this marriage to prove himself, not to be loved by someone. Now maybe he'll finally figure it out. At that moment, Margaret's expression was complicated. She was both a mother and an observer. She loved him, but she didn't agree with him.
After I got home, I sat on the sofa, slowly drank half a glass of water, then picked up my phone. I opened my contacts, hesitated for a long time, and finally sent a text, "Take care." He replied, "Thanks." 2 words were enough.
After John's knee surgery, he was diagnosed with lung problems. Margaret started running back and forth between the hospital and home, rain or shine.
I went over to deliver dinner every day after work.
The hospital corridors were long, the lights pale, and her white hair stood out sharply against it.
One day she sat on a chair outside the ICU, holding a thermos but not drinking.
Tiffany, I'm scared.
Scared of what?
Scared he'll leave. Scared no one will have breakfast with me anymore.
He won't leave. He hasn't had enough of your croissants. She cried. Tears fell on the back of her hand, and she didn't wipe them. I wiped it for her.
The woman waiting next to me for visitation handed me a peck of tissues. We made eye contact, and she gave a slight nod, as if to say, "Yeah, that's life."
John was discharged from the hospital, but he couldn't live without a wheelchair. Margaret took care of him at home, and our Wednesday dinners moved to my place. She brought the ingredients, and I cooked.
John sat in his wheelchair and helped peel garlic. The TV was on, playing baseball on the sports channel, but no one was really watching. Tiffany, have you ever thought about getting married?
Haven't the right person.
What kind of person do you want?
Someone who won't leave.
What man wouldn't want to leave?
You didn't leave. You waited all these years for John.
He didn't run. He walked, slowly, without hurry, 1 step at a time.
At that moment, I suddenly realized that what Margaret taught me wasn't how to love someone who leaves you. She taught me how to wait for the right person, even if I wait until my hair turns white.
Daisy's daughter was 3 years old and visiting New York for the first time. I picked her up at the airport. The little girl sat in her car seat, staring at my eyes in the rearview mirror.
Are you Daisy's sister?
No, I'm Daisy's mom's friend.
Your grandma's friend.
Yes.
Grandma says you're her favorite.
I held the steering wheel, my nose stinging. The little girl in the rearview mirror swung her legs, humming an unknown children's song.
She talks too much. Ignore her.
It's fine. Kids who talk a lot don't hold it in. I took the little girl to the zoo. She refused to leave in front of the penguin enclosure, saying,
"The penguin's clothes are so pretty."
I bought her a penguin plush toy.
Thank you, Aunt Tiffany.
Call me sister.
Sister Auntie.
Margaret was preparing lunch at home, and John sat in his wheelchair directing her to fry fish.
The fire is too high. Flip it. Where's the garlic?
You're more annoying than a chef.
The fish you fried deserves to be taken seriously.
Grandpa, this is for you. It'll keep you company so the doctor doesn't hurt.
The little girl ran in and handed the penguin plush to Joan. Joan froze, and his eyes immediately turned red. He took the penguin, placed it on his lap, and touched the little girl's head.
Sister Auntie, do you have a kid?
No,
Why not?
because I haven't met the right person.
She thought for a moment and handed me the penguin.
I give it to you. He was my best friend, and now he's your best friend too.
I held the plush penguin and didn't know what to say. She leaned on my shoulder and fell asleep in less than a minute. Her breathing was soft, her eyelashes long.
Sister Auntie, next time I'll show you London's penguins.
The next day I took her to the airport. She lay on Daisy's shoulder and waved to me. I smiled and waved till her figure disappeared behind the security checkpoint. When I turned around, Margaret was standing behind me, her eyes also red. John passed away in his sleep. Margaret called in the morning, her voice as calm as still water.
Tiffany, he's gone.
Drove over immediately. There were almost no cars on the road. The street lights flew backward one by one, like time reversing. When I arrived at her house, she was sitting on the sofa, her hair uncombed, holding one of John's scarves in her arms. John's wheelchair was empty, parked by the dining table. On the table laid the half-eaten fiant from the day before.
He said thank you for peeling garlic with him.
You're welcome. That was all I could say. The funeral was held at a small church on the outskirts of the city. Not many people came, just over 20. John's old colleagues, a few relatives, and old friends from the community baking class. Margaret wore a black dress and no pearls. John taught me one thing. To love someone is not to possess. Just being by his side is enough.
She didn't cry, because she had promised him she wouldn't.
In the first month after John passed away, Margaret lost a lot of weight. She always sits on the sofa and stares at John's empty weigher. She stopped baking bread, stopped going to the community baking class, and canceled our Wednesday dinners. I didn't persuade her. I opened the cabinet, took out tomatoes, and made 2 plates of pasta. I set it in front of her. She glanced at it.
No appetite.
John wouldn't want this for you.
John is gone. You don't understand.
I know, but you're still here. She was quiet for a long time, then finally picked up the fork. She took one bite, then another.
Too salty.
Less salt next time.
There won't be a next time.
There will be.
After that, I still went to her house every Wednesday and made pasta. On the 8th week, I am going to kitchen to cook. Margaret stood up.
I'll cook today.
She made croissants.
While the oven was preheating, she suddenly said,
John always said the layers of a croissant are like life, one on top of another, sweet and salty.
She laughed, and tears fell. It was the first time she cried since John left. Margaret sold her old Manhattan apartment and moved to a small apartment in Brooklyn, only 3 blocks from where I lived. The new Brooklyn apartment was small, 1 bedroom and 1 living room, but the windows faced south and got plenty of sunlight. Margaret put a photo of John on the windowsill with a small pot of rosemary next to it. She said John loved the smell of rosemary when he was alive. On the first Wednesday after moving, we sat on her small balcony eating takeout Chinese food. The Manhattan skyline was visible in the distance, the spire of the Empire State Building glowing in the dusk.
Tiffany, have you ever wondered what our relationship would be if Benjamin hadn't cheated back then?
Mother and daughter-in-law.
So which type of relationship do you think is better?
What we have now.
I think so too.
To fate. Benjamin came back to New York. He didn't contact me, but sent a message through Daisy.
After reading it, I froze for a moment and forwarded a message to Margaret. She replied after reading, "He's grown up." Then she sent another, "So have you."
Benjamin wants to treat you to dinner, just the 3 of us. He says he wants to thank you in person.
Do you think I should go?
Go if you want, don't if you don't.
Do you want me to go?
I want him to see someone who's living a good life, that's you.
I agreed to the dinner.
Not for Benjamin, but for Margaret.
Tiffany, long time no see.
Long time no see. She ordered a pot of sock and poured a cup for each of us.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't deserve you being so good to my mom.
Your mom deserves it. It has nothing to do with you. After dinner, he walked us to the subway station. When we parted, he held out his hand and I shook it. His hand was still thin with prominent knuckles, but his nails weren't cut as short as before. Take care.
You too.
I didn't look back when I turned into the subway station. Margaret walked beside me, gently linking her arm through mine.
On Margaret's 75th birthday, Daisy couldn't come back, and the video call kept freezing.
Mom, happy birthday.
I cut the cake for her.
Tiffany, you bought a cake again. Didn't we agree that I would make it?
You've been making them for 30 years. It's my turn. The cake was strawberry cream flavor. She took one bite and put down her fork.
Too sweet.
Too much sugar.
When you get old, your taste gets picky.
It's not picky. Once you've tasted something better, you can't go back, she suddenly asked.
Tiffany, do you regret not having children?
I thought for a moment.
No regret. Having you is enough for me.
She froze, her eyes slightly red.
You're better at comforting people than Daisy.
Fireworks went off outside the window. Someone was celebrating. Margaret.
Tiffany, where do you think people go after they die? They become someone's memory.
John is in your heart, and you're in mine. As long as someone remembers, they never really disappear.
Today, we're back at that small Italian restaurant. Countless Wednesday dinners sitting at the same table, ordering the same food. She has salad, I have pasta, and we share a piece of tiramisu. Look, the price went up again.
Prices go up, but our friendship doesn't. Rain falls on the glass window, blurring the neon lights.
Tiffany, do you regret meeting Benjamin?
No regret. Without him, I would never have met you.
She smiles softly, her wrinkles gilded by the twilight. Outside the window, the light blurs into orange flowers. My name is Tiffany. I was once an ex-girlfriend, then a bridesmaid, and now a friend, a writer. Some people leave you to make space for others.
You are the best gift of my life.
The rain outside stops. We finish the tiramisu completely. She pays, and I no longer fight her for it. I walk her to her door. The street lamp is on, her figure fading in the light. But she turns around and waves to me. The light is still on, and I am still here.